Morning, folks. This morning's soap is brought to us by Stirling Soaps. Since it's September 11th, Wednesday, thought this might be a good soap to have on a shave like this. Name of this one here is Triumph. I have the scent profile down below. I've been fighting a cold, so talking and breathing at the same time is going to be a problem. Has been. This is what the soap looks like, and it's fairly firm, but soft enough to scrape out pretty easy with a spoon. And this one here is in a 3-ounce variety. It's not in production at the moment. It was earlier this year, and comes with the matching aftershave also. Got the usual lineup in the way of Phoenix Artisan accoutrements, alum block, what's left of it, with no rubber band this morning. And also got Humphrey's witch hazel that is now mentholated, as well as got some peppermint in it. The blade of the day is by the way of Personna, the X series. This is just a half blade that's already pre-cut, and I've got it whipped up here with a ever-ready brush, 150 by the way of striped gold shave, and that's what the lather looks like. I've got it pretty wet. It's not dripping, it's yogurt. Looks really good. And I was busy looking at it and I don't even know if I even showed it on the camera. And the shaver of the day is going to be the Classic Samurai. This is this is the first one that I bought when I first started shaving with the Shavette, and you can kind of tell what kind of design it is here. In my opinion, it's very inexpensive. You can find it without any blades right around the $8 mark if you hunt long enough, and it's one of my favorites. It's really easy to use, durable, inexpensive, a great way to get started in that you're not out a whole lot of money if you decide later on maybe it's just not for you. Comes in different colors if you don't like the red, kind of an off-white, a gray, blue. I think that covers all of them. There might be a brown one if I remember right. Don't see very many of those. And also kind of did a little bit of a change up. Went ahead and did a hot towel to the face and Stirling's beard oil that doubles as a pre-shave, so I mean a pre-shave oil that is. And my change up on my beard is giving this a try to see how it works out for me. This is Leah's beard serum, and it says that it has a scent to it. With my nose being messed up, I'm not picking any scent up, but not saying that it's not there. It's just my nose right now is not working very well. And it also down here, it may be kind of hard to see, it says natural shine. I only used it once yesterday, so in other words I don't have a whole lot of experience with it just yet, but it does seem to put a shine on the initial use. But afterwards, one of the things I noticed that didn't seem to do much for control of all the wildness that might be going on first thing in the morning, depending on how you sleep. I sleep on my side, on this side, so everything's pushed this way, so getting things to cooperate, in other words, just by using this right now doesn't seem to do quite the trick. Have to say though, it does go on rather well. Initially there is that shine that it talks about, and maybe over a period of time that might be more of a I guess you might say an ongoing thing, that on a daily basis just start to shine. Just starting out, it maybe might just need some help. In other words, go ahead and get started here. The shaver, I have been shaving with it off and on since I guess it'd be about Saturday, somewhere in there. I was sick all weekend. I was in bed most of the time, just not doing well, even when I was up and trying to do something. It was, you know, when it's hard to breathe, it's hard to do much anything, including eating. It was a rough weekend. Matter of fact, I didn't even go to work on a Monday, trying to, try to get enough rest to not to go back to work too early and do myself more harm than good. I thought today, like I said, being September the 11th, 9/11, thought that this soap would be a good soap to use today. In other words, I've had this one planned, setting, ready to go for a moment. I do smell from time to time. I do pick up the scent. Um, I said it's a good thing I got the scent below because it's not listed on the website anymore. And this is this as you can tell, it's not exactly dripping, and it's I guess you might say a rich yogurt. That might be the best way to describe this one. Goes on nice. Very smooth going across the face. I have to say that's one thing I've really noticed with the pre-shave oil using the Shavette is that the shaves do seem to be a bit smoother, especially on the post-shave. I can tell a difference. Now I've seen that Phoenix Artists and Accoutrements came out with a new cube, I guess you might say a new formula. I haven't tried that one just yet. It does sound intriguing though. There's been a write-up or two talking about the cube, where there's the first version, second version, and either way you go, one of the things that is mentioned is that it does seem to help if with soaps that maybe aren't quite up to par. Might be a kind way of putting it. Or maybe your lather just wasn't quite up to snuff. So as it goes for somebody that's just starting out, it may not be such a bad thing, because if you're still learning how to create your lather, that pre-shave soap might help you out quite a bit. Me just not realize it at the beginning until later. I know for me, the best thing I could have done and was to learn how to lather Williams mug soap. Nope, it's not the easiest to learn. It can be frustrating. But once you learn how to lather Williams mug soap, and I mean you really get a good lather with it, hey, after that, everything else is downhill. It's a, it really is a good soap to learn how to lather. As it goes for how to have where you place your fingers on a Shavette like this, it's really up to the individual what works best for you. What's the most comfortable for you? And it may take a few shaves for you to get used to it. Figure out what works best for you. And that's how I'd approach it, is just give yourself some time. And it was a while back, I wish I still had the link to the article, where I found it by the way of Mandic59, Sharbologist, where it talks about when you first start shaving with a straight razor, that you it's like mapping your beard, except for this time you're going to map on how you're going to learn how to shave with a straight razor, and you only start out with, in other words, just one cheek for about a week, and then you might move down to the lower part of your neck or the other cheek, just depending on what you would want to do. I'd go from cheek to cheek, but that way so you're not getting discouraged because maybe you're not getting the angle quite right. After you get a little bit of experience, you can do things a little bit differently, but I would start with the Shavette flat up against your face, and when you start to move it off your face to the spine, good place to know when you're starting to get close to getting right angles, when you can feel the whiskers getting cut. That's how I would start out. I did go a little, when I first started out, I hadn't been wet shaving very long. And I was, no different than today. I'm very excited, it's like with a straight razor shave. Nervous but excited, to get started and, gung-ho wanting to do the whole shave. I felt more comfortable when I first started to do at least a single pass with a Shavette, and then finish it up with whatever the favorite razor is. And that's another thing too, is to make sure you got one backed up, ready to go in case the shave doesn't go as well as you planned on it. And this one here's my shaver. Like I mentioned before in another video, this is a old style open comb, but this is a ball tag handle. It's just one that over time, when I get bits and pieces of, and believe it or not, this one here used as a backup or just to get the quick cleanups, hey, it works great. And I'm getting a little bit more accustomed to it, because for me, old style is a pretty aggressive razor, in my opinion, from my experience. And it might be because of the blade choice. Even though I'm using Personna, which it does give me a fairly smooth one, but I can definitely feel the blade on that shaver there without a problem. And if you haven't had a chance yet, might stop by Stephen Davidson's channel. He's got a shave in with the Razorock Echo. It is a single edge blade that uses DE blades, half of the DE blade. It resembles the Hawk. I think the head's a bit bigger than what the Hawk is, but it uses DE blades, just a half of a DE blade. For those that might be just hit the sweet spot. In other words, the focus dynamic, in other words, maybe that pivoting head isn't quite working well for you. Well, this is a fixed head, so this might be the single edge shaver you've been looking for that uses it half of a DE blade. Reason I mention that is because I know a number of people have DE blades and not necessarily interested in buying another shaver that uses a different kind of blade than the blades they already have, and it'd make a great transition or a complement to your rotation, having another razor of a different style but still using the same kind of blade. Just might make things a little bit more interesting in your shaves. And who knows, you might find your favorite shaver too. And if you're wondering already, do I have one? Yes, I do. When I ordered mine, I was really wondering what color to get, because it's got some nice colors. I mean, it's got black, silver, green, and gold. And the more I got to thinking about it, probably need to add a little bit more color, so I went with gold. The shaver, the Razorock Echo, comes with 100 blades that are already pre-cut. If that matters to anybody. In other words, if you're not quite ready to snap a DE blade in half. Of course, you want to do it with the wrapper on there. But it's not tough. Snapping a DE blade's not too terribly tough to do. So you just pay just a little bit of attention to what you're doing, and you'll get it snapped in half without any problem. And if you're wondering, well, maybe it doesn't snap perfectly in half, that's okay. the way it's designed, it doesn't necessarily need to be snapped in half just perfect, because that doesn't play into the alignment of the blade. There is just and when I do my shave with it, I'll show you all the, not that there's much, there was only just a slight, and I wouldn't call it an issue, it's just, but for some people though, if they wanted to make an issue out of it, I'm sure they could. It's designed fairly well, can't complain about it really. At least I can't. I have an Icon single edge that I got as it was referred to as being blemished, and I could never figure out. The only thing I could see that might be the blemish was that the threads, you know, you can see flat spots on the threads. I could see flat spots on the threads. That's the only thing I could see. Well, later on, after I got to reading some other write-ups about it, I guess you might say that some people felt concerned about the amount of play that the cap and base plate had in it. And I loaded the blade a particular way, the same way, every time I used it. So it didn't really occur to me that there was enough play that if you positioned the head, in other words, slide it back or slide it forward, you get two different kind of shaves. Well, I loaded the blade and always put it together the same way. So for me, it was a non-issue because I was consistent in how I was doing things and didn't have that issue with the having the cap, push forward or backwards in between shaves. It was always the same, always did it the same way. And this one here with the Razorock Echo, there's just a tiny bit movement. And like I say, if for anybody that's familiar with that one from Icon, that thought will come back with this one here, but it's not quite like that. At least I don't think so. Outside of that, it's well made. Lightweight aluminum. I don't remember the weight off the top of my head, but it really is a lightweight shaver. I got it, like I say, I got a gold one. Looks pretty good. It really does. I guess you might say it will brighten your shave up, that's for sure. Only got just a little bit of stinging right down here. Thought maybe I cut myself just a little bit. Didn't get stretched quite well enough, in other words. Kind of felt it just a little bit. Excuse me. Over time I have bought on eBay like lots of shaving stuff. In other words, not a lot, but a lot. Where you'd have all kinds of different things, like maybe old wore out strop, part of a shaver. And through the course of doing that sort of thing, I have acquired a few straight razors. And they've been boxed up for quite a while. And I decided that it was time to get them out. Might try to clean them up just a little bit, but I'm thinking about which one or ones I'm going to send to Frank Strike Gold Shaving to see if he can get them homed up. Because the two of them that I pulled out in particular are frame backs and look to be like you should be able to get them honed, and look to be in pretty decent shape to be able to use, and end up, I may have to put in some more on that. This is pretty good stuff. I've got a couple of what I would refer to as baby wedges, maybe like 4/8. One of them in particular, maybe 3/8. I don't even think it's 4/8. They're pretty small, and I don't know what kind of problems or issues it is to hone a wedge. I can imagine a 7/8 wedge or near wedge, quarter hollow, whatever you want to call it, might be an issue. But this one here, these two babies may be a little bit easier to hone. I don't know. I'll talk to Frank about it. I have to give it some thought. I'm not real sure because, from what I understand, shaving with a wedge versus a 3/4 hollow, there's a big difference, I guess. I won't know until I get my shave in, will I? Nice shave this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Ran just a little bit longer than usual, blabbering. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.